I used photo booth in my last review, could you tell? Testing, switch 1, 2. Testing, switch 1, 2. Hello, y'all. It's me again. No. Fuck. Hello, y'all. It's me again with yet another review. Now, I know I've been doing a lot of these face videos. Oh my goodness. He has a face. He's not just gonna edit around this. I really don't have too much time to edit stuff with college going on right now, so I'm just gonna try to do this as best as possible, as quick as possible. So basically what I'm gonna be doing with this video is going over certain movies that I haven't yet released. That's right, that includes Shang-Chi. And just basically give some quick analyses about what I thought about them, whether I liked them or not, you know, stuff like that. Just simple stuff, you know, 2021 shit. It's November 9th as of recording this. I have time, but there's a lot I haven't talked about, man. So let's go over it. I guess the first one we'll be talking about is A Quiet Place Part 2. Now, if you know me or anything about me, you probably don't, because this is the only time I've ever talked about A Quiet Place on this channel before. I'm not a fan. I didn't like the first one really at all. There was a lot about it that annoyed me personally, especially with the acting. I don't know, I just thought like the ending scene where Krasinski does the thing, that was dumb. I'm not gonna get into it. The point is that I thought the original was bad. So watching this one, I also expected this one to be bad, and I actually tried watching it in theaters back when it came out, but I actually left and got a refund, and my sisters and I went into another movie, but that's a thing of the past. I actually saw it. I sat through it. It was one of the first movies I saw when I came to college as a result of the free theater screenings that this movie has on campus. And I still didn't like it, but I didn't hate it as much as the first one for some reason. Now, yes, I guess from a filmmaking standpoint, wow, this movie's well shot. Yeah, sure, okay, it is well shot. And you know what? Kudos to Krasinski for actually making a pretty well shot movie. It has moments of intensity in it that actually got me way more than the first one. And yeah, I didn't like the first one at all, but this one is literally, it picks up where the last one left off, I guess. It also shows a bit of like how the monsters came to be, or what the origins to this is. But really where this film suffers, and where the films suffer in general, is that once you discover a weakness in a film, basically any and all tension regarding a sequel is taken away. So with the first movie, one of the main characters, or the deaf girl, she discovers the weakness of her hearing aid making a high-pitched noise, and that's what causes the monsters to either die or become weak for a while until they could kill them. Okay. And that's used the entire movie with this one. So there's really no stakes anymore. There's no worrying when it comes to these stupid monsters, because yeah, they're gonna show up, yeah, they're gonna fuck shit up, yes, they're gonna wreak havoc, but really it's just like this moment of, why should I care? Why should anyone in the movie care when that's the weakness? Just play that out loud. And I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but okay, I mean what am I supposed to do with that? Like, there really weren't that many stakes going into this movie. Again, it was better than the original, I think, but there's still like nothing going on in this movie, and for that I think I'm gonna have to give it a 4 out of 10, and where I would rate the original as like a 3. But yeah, that's my view on A Quiet Place Part 2. It's basically a horror movie with no stakes, because a weakness is talked about very early on in the movie, which causes the whole thing to just seem just fucking worthless. Alrighty, Shang-Chi. Now, I've had plenty of time to actually think about this movie, sit on it, think about what I liked, think about what I didn't like, and now that it's almost out in HD on Disney+, I can finally say I still really like this movie. Now, I will be talking about another Marvel movie at some point in this video, but with Shang-Chi, there's just a lot going for it. Now, while this movie has some dumb moments, and really where my cons come in are some of the CGI, because some of it's either fantastic and some of the other stuff is just garbage. And with the stakes, or not the stakes, but like with the situation that's going on, the motivation for the bad guy feels very old trope and just ridiculous. It didn't ruin the movie for me, but it was really, really annoying watching it, especially on rewatches, knowing what's gonna happen. I also thought there were certain moments of certain jokes that didn't work quite too well. Like, there's a scene of a guy on the bus who's live streaming a fight, And the bus fight was awesome. And for a second, the guy was actually really funny, but I think they dragged that joke on a little too far, and I just thought it was kind of dumb. And I guess the only other thing that was kind of tough about this movie around the edges are just like plot conveniences, like stuff that happens because it has to happen for the sake of the movie. Like, oh wow, you so happen to be here while this thing is going on, or you so happen to miss this right when this person does that. But that being said, the movie has a lot to it that works, like a lot to it that works. Just the action scenes are spectacular. Some of the best action scenes I've seen in a Marvel movie in a long time. I'm talking about you, Endgame. No one wants to rewatch that shit. But there's just so much to it also with the acting. Oh my god, the acting was phenomenal in this movie. Everyone gave it their A game. They were funny. They were necessarily evil when they had to be, I guess. And it was just like such a collaborative project that it was like great to see like so much good acting in a project like this, especially from all these either known or not well-known actors. Speaking of the sister, she has literally never done anything. This is her first acting role ever, and she was great. I honestly had no idea. I thought this was like a well-known actress from wherever the fuck, and no, she's like completely unknown. Like, this is her first movie ever, and she fucking kills it. What a hell of a likable character. Seriously, the sister, man, I'm crushing. Like, she's fucking, I crush hard. I have a crush, you know, but yeah. Even Awkwafina did great. The main guy was awesome. Even the dad, like, there's a lot of moments in this movie, especially one scene where it's just like dark. I get Marvel movies, it's like, oh, people are gonna die, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, but I actually felt the stakes to this one a little bit. And other than some of the god-awful background CGI stuff that happens every now and then, there's just so much to it that worked for me. And I honestly had a blast watching this movie, and hopefully I can release this fucking segment so I can let people know what I thought about the movie, because I really liked it, but I didn't think it was perfect. Like, I thought it was good. I think I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. I think that's fair. And yeah, shout out to the after credit sequences. Those were cool. And I had a lot of fun watching this. Also, one more thing that I didn't like about the movie, there's this scene where it shows them when they were younger and they're playing like Dance Dance Revolution on a fucking flat screen. Like, really? Were you that rich back then? I get flat screens kind of existed back when Dance Dance Revolution came out, but give me a fucking break. There's no way anyone played Dance Dance Revolution on a fucking flat screen. Sorry, I just had to point that out. Oh my goodness. But yeah, everything else was awesome. That was just one little nitpick that I noticed while watching the movie. And yeah, for that, I'm going to give Shang-Chi a 7 out of 10. Malignant. Ooh, now a lot of people have been talking about Malignant for a while just because of how nuts and out there this movie is. Finally, James Wan makes another horror movie, and what is he going to do with it? He's going to make it as fucking batshit as possible. This movie is insane. Now, this is one of those movies that for a while I wasn't too into, but I was like, okay, I'll see. Like, I trust James Wan. I like James Wan. Let's see where he goes with this, because it's one of those things that I could tell was going to have more going into it and not be quite what we expected. And boy, oh boy, it was not at all what I expected. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but this movie becomes nuts. Like, for a while, I was kind of like, okay, let's get on with it. The last 30 minutes, I just had such a blast that it amplified my rating. Now, I don't think this movie's fantastic. I technically think the actress is either really good or really bad. Anytime she screams was completely unbelievable and really dumb. Everything else with her fear, that was great. And oh my god, the directing from James Wan, that scene where she's freaking out and the camera just goes around her. Like, this is like, James Wan knows what the fuck he's doing. He's a good director. He knows how to make that camera go places and do these one-shot sequences where you're like, what the fuck is going on? And this movie has that. It's awesome to see like these crazy action scenes play out, or not action, but yeah, just so much happens in this movie, and honestly, it was a blast to watch. I still think it's just okay, because for the majority of the movie, you're kind of like, what the fuck is going on? And you want more answers, and you are satisfyingly given those answers by the end of the movie. And I had a fun time. I had friends who hated this movie, but I had such a fun time watching this. I'm gonna have to go ahead and give it a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's perfect. It has a lot of flaws, but the ending justified the experience for me, and I think that's all that matters about the movie. God damn it. Alrighty, the next thing we're going to be talking about is Squid Game. Oh my goodness, I'm doing it. I'm talking about the most popular show in the world, Squid Game. I really liked it. Now, this is one of those shows that I had really no expectations going into it, but I waited about a week to watch it, really, because, school, there's a lot going on. It's a lot to invest in a pretty lengthy show like this, hour per episode. There's about 9 episodes. Like, there's a lot to the show, and I didn't want to just, watch it every now and then, because that's kind of like what college does to you. I wanted to really sit down and try to sit through the entire thing. So I did. And I finished it, and I really liked it. I thought the acting in this was pretty good. I thought the concept was really interesting. I'm surprised this project wasn't greenlit sooner. I understand sort of the craziness that goes into it, or the message it's trying to give. But overall, I don't think the show is perfect. As much as I enjoyed it, at the end, there was just some stuff that was, there are some plot conveniences. There was some stuff that you kind of see coming not too long before it happens, which I get, the whole point is oh, you're supposed to wait till the moment of, but the first episode I would consider to be okay, but it only gets better from there on. And it really is such a now it's kind of become a meme. It's kind of become what I saw some reviewer describe it as, kind of like the next Among Us, where it had a big following and a fan base at the beginning. It's actually good source material that sort of caused the meme, but it's referenced so much to this point where when you hear it, or when you hear people joke about it, you're kind of ugh, that's kind of played out, which sucks, because this is a really good show that for those who haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend it to. But it's almost become a slur just saying it. It feels like a lot of people who are enjoying the show or dressing up as characters for the show, especially because it came out not too long before Halloween, it really does defeat the purpose of what the show was trying to convey with its messages. But that being said, separate all that shit from the TV show. How is the show itself? I think it's great, and a lot of people are not satisfied with the ending, and the show is getting a season 2 as confirmed of today, which I am not okay with. I just want them to end it. Really, I get it. It's one of the biggest shows ever. It's probably gonna have a sequel to it, and I was really satisfied with the ending. A lot of people didn't like it, but I was okay, that's fine. I'm okay with this. Let's just move on. Let's find another show to be obsessed about, or whatever. Stranger Things 4 is coming out soon. People can piss their pants about that show, but nope, they're gonna do another Squid Game, and honestly, I'm kind of scared, because for a while I was really happy with where this show left off and what it showed. And yeah, there were a lot of flaws to it that I really can't name at the moment just because of, spoilers, but overall, I thought it was a really satisfying and well-made show, and for that reason, I'm gonna have to give it an 8 out of 10. Ooh, I get to finally talk about
Venom.
Now, Venom Let There Be Carnage is one of the funnest movies I've seen all year. Is it good? Absolutely not. Is it a good movie? No. Is the acting good? No. Is it serious at all? No. And is it hilarious for that reason? Yes. Fuck yes. This is one of the funniest fucking movies I've seen all year. Now, I understand people wanted the series to be serious, but part of what makes the original so funny is how unself-aware it is. It tries to take itself as being serious and sort of dark and edgy, but it tries to be funny every now and then, to where the funny parts aren't funny and the serious parts are funny because they're trying to be taken seriously. This movie doesn't take itself seriously, and I've heard a lot of people complain that that's why this movie sucks, but no, the movie sucked from the beginning, all right? You got Tom Hardy playing this ridiculously wimpy character, Eddie Brock. What are you gonna do with that? You fucking cast Woody Harrelson as Carnage. You're supposed to have fun with that idea, and Andy Serkis knew exactly what he had to do when he was given this property to make it funny, and he did. Honestly, it is one of the most entertaining movies I've seen all year, because part of what makes the first one tough to rewatch, all those ridiculous serious scenes or moments where the film can get a little boring, none of that shit is in this movie. This movie is it's an hour and 35 minutes, including credits, so the film's really an hour and 30 minutes. It goes by so quick. There's no time to waste. There's no bullshit. There's no boring plot moments where shit's not shown and you hear this evil person boringly explain why they're doing what they're doing. It's just dumb fun. And for that reason, I honestly feel like I got my money's worth. I paid money to watch this in theaters, and it's exactly what I wanted. If you go into the movie expecting that and wanting that, you will enjoy that. If not, you are gonna hate this movie. So take my word when I say this is not a good movie. but it is hilarious, and for that reason, it's one of my favorites of 2021. But it's not one of the best, and therefore I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Really, the film quality is a 4 out of 10, but I'm telling you, a movie for me needs to either be good or really entertaining, and if it does both, boom, it's awesome. This one was just entertaining, and I'm not going to give it any shit for that because it's exactly what I wanted it to be. After We Fell. This movie sucks. Somehow it's the best one versus After, and the god-awful, worse, inferior sequel, After We Collided. Holy shit, that movie sucks ass. But I don't know. This one still sucked. It wasn't good. The only thing I kind of liked about it is that the characters are somewhat aware of what they've done and that they're kind of shitty people. But whatever, it's not that good. There's really not much to talk about. The acting's horrible, the music's horrible, the filming's horrible, the story's horrible. Everything about this movie's horrible. The only thing that doesn't make it the worst thing ever is that it's better than its predecessors, and therefore I'm giving After We Fell a 2 out of 10. Titane. This is an opinion that's going to change, but I'm going to give you my first opinion right here, right now, what I thought about this movie. I had way higher expectations. Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the body horror aspect of this movie. I enjoyed the second half of the movie enough. I didn't like it as much as the first half. I get that it's going for a plot change, and I understand the sort of messages that it's trying to give with the movie. I get that. I get why people love it. But personally, myself, I felt a lot more satisfied with how Raw not only presented itself, but just everything that goes on. It's such a nuts movie, but it really does sort of pull you and sort of makes you entranced while you're watching everything. Like, Raw, aside from being one of the craziest batshit movies I've ever seen, is a really well-made movie, and it's really beautiful for not only its subject matter, but it's just like fucking weird. Like, Raw really is one of the weirdest movies I've seen, but I love it because just, oh, it's so dark. Like, it's everything I like about a fucked up movie, and it's made well. Like, there's a lot about it that makes it good. Titane has those aspects to it, but it has a more serious second half where it kind of shies away from what it was going over in the first half. And yeah, this movie's fucked up. It has its fair share of body horror. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens. This is a weird movie, but I really wanted more, and I might get that on rewatch. But my first impressions of this movie were, it was alright. And again, the acting from everyone was phenomenal. The directing, everything that this movie was trying to do, it did. And it did it well. But I kind of wanted more. So people are going to love this movie, or people are going to hate this movie. I'm kind of split in the middle. I thought it was alright, and I do want to watch it again. But my first impressions of this movie are, it was okay. And for that, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Ooh, that's right, Candyman. I forgot I saw that. So I saw Candyman on a college campus theater with a group full of college kids, and I thought this movie was awesome. I really had no expectations going into it. I just knew it was a horror movie that was produced by Jordan Peele, and there's a lot more that this movie's trying to do. Now, yes, there's like a huge relevant message that it's trying to give regarding stuff that's going on today. All that was fantastic. The horror aspect to it was also kind of fantastic, and really, I wasn't too scared of the Candyman. Like, this movie didn't scare me at all, but I was thoroughly entertained to see everything I did, and I thought it was very well executed. The cinematography was fantastic. Oh my goodness, this movie was shot so well. Us, the second film that Jordan Peele made, has the looks, it has the acting, it has like the music, but part of what made that movie such a disconnect is that it wasn't until halfway or more when stuff started happening, and even then I didn't care too much about what was happening, and the plot twist in that movie really ruined it for me. But everything that happens in this movie, like, I was kind of on the edge of my seat wanting to see more of what happened. Was I scared? Not really, but there was so much to it that just worked, like especially the acting, again, with the directing and the cinematography. Ooh, my goodness. But even like the music and the stakes of like what's gonna go on, what will happen, who will survive, who won't survive. Nothing's really left off the table with this movie, and I gotta kind of commend the movie for that. Also, hilariously, at the beginning, all the opening logos are supposed to be backwards to sort of symbolize the mirror that people speak the name into. And the theater that I was in stopped the movie because they thought their copy was fucked. And it took me talking to the staff to tell them that I think that's how it's supposed to look because of the themes of the movie. And of course the movie progressed, everything was fine, but that was really funny.
It's part of the movie.
Who's gonna tell him?
Should I tell him? Should I tell him?
It's supposed to.
I think that's part of the movie.
Yeah, we'll tell him about that.
Fuck this. I think that's part of the movie because it starts off with the mirror. I think it's supposed to be in backwards.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
They thought it was like some technical difficulty, but it was just part of the movie. But yeah, that aside, overall, the movie's just really well done, and I was really surprised, like, once I finished it, to say that I really liked this movie, and for that, I'm gonna have to give Candyman a 7 out of 10. Very well done, and definitely go check it out if you're able to. Oh yes, I finally get to talk about this. So first, again, another first impression, Wes Anderson's The French Dispatch. I had so much fun watching this movie, it's crazy. Is it as good as The Grand Budapest Hotel? No. Is it as good as Moonrise Kingdom? No, I don't think so. Is it as good as Rushmore? Really, no, but I do think it's better than the Darjeeling Limited, which I still really like, and better than Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, which is my least favorite, but even then I still like it. Now, this is a really strange movie because it's told in separate stories. Currently, as of now, this is the most Wes Anderson movie I've ever seen. Really, all the critics and like everyone who doesn't like his style, he basically says like fuck you to them and does whatever he wants in this movie. It's very interesting. Of course, it's very well shot. It's very well acted. Really, no one gave a bad performance, I don't think, in this movie. The music was great. The stories themselves were great. I guess my only gripe with this movie is that the second story was more interesting than the last. But that being said, all the stories were great. I would rank them as the second one, the first one, and the last one being last. But even then, like, there's just so much style to this movie. Like, I had a blast sitting through the entirety of this movie. I thought it was one of the funniest movies Wes Anderson has done in a long time. There's just so much wit to it. Like, everything feels so perfectly placed. I haven't gotten, like, this excited about a Wes Anderson movie since Grand Budapest. I'm really, like, happy with what this movie conveyed. And while I understand, like, the criticisms that people are giving with this movie, a lot of them didn't really get to me, and personally I just had so much fun watching this movie. Again, it's one of those that will either stay as good as it is or possibly drop a grade with rewatches, but for now I'm happy to say that at the moment this is my favorite movie of the year. There's still more coming out, I know. There's a chance this won't stay my favorite movie of the year, but there's a lot to it that's just so well done, and really my only gripe with it is that the stories should have been placed in different areas of the film, but it's just so entertaining. Everyone gave it their A game, especially Wes Anderson, and yes, if you're a fan of Wes Anderson, you are going to love this movie, and I am, and I did. I'm giving French Dispatch a 9 out of 10. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We talking about Eternals, baby. Eternals. 2021, Eternals 2021, directed by Chloe Zhao, the director of the Best Picture winner Nomadland. First off, this movie is better than Nomadland. Alright, fight me on that. Nomadland wasn't that interesting, alright? I don't think it's that good of a movie. I understand why people like it. I don't understand why people love it. I really don't. But whatever. That being said, what did I think of Eternals? It's sad that it's so sad that the indie movie isn't as good as the blockbuster movie. But goddamn, dude, Eternals was awesome. Now, for some reason, with all the hate coming out about it and with what certain people were saying about it, I was skeptical, but I was excited. I was really excited because I really enjoyed Shang-Chi from what I've said in this one. And there was just so much about it that just sort of intrigued me. Like, I don't know what about the movie intrigued me seeing the trailers, but I was somewhat excited for this Eternals movie, and I watched it on Friday when it came out, and again, I thought it was awesome. Now, first I'm going to get into some of the stuff I didn't like about the movie. First off, every now and then there's some pretty fucky CGI, and by that I mean sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think it worked a lot better than Shang-Chi because it's not as, you know, night and day noticing the difference, like whether it's good or whether it's bad. I think there's some moments where stuff kind of looks a little fake, or it doesn't look as realistic as I think the director wish it would have. But with the grand scope of this being seen on the big screen, this movie really does have like a big scope. Like, this movie had me feeling certain feelings that I really hadn't felt since watching Avengers Infinity War, and that's my second favorite Marvel movie of all time. I wouldn't consider myself a Marvel fan at all because my second favorite Marvel movie of all time is an 8 out of 10, but
with this movie, there's just like so much about it. Real quick, let me get back to the cons. It has its fair share of cheesiness. There's some cheese in this movie. The score was 50-50. Either it sounded really good or very Marvel generic. And really, the whole Superman thing, that was Superman. Don't lie to me. Even Chloe Zhao said, oh, I was inspired by Man of Steel. No shit. I didn't like Man of Steel, but it worked for this, and I get like the laser eyes and the floating. This character's literally Superman. But yeah, really, those are my gripes with it. The acting, dude. Oh my god, the acting in this movie is just so good. Like, really, I haven't seen acting this good in a Marvel movie for a long time. Hear me out. I know what I said about Shang-Chi. It was better in this one. Dude, the cinematography. Oh my goodness, Chloe Zhao. You get an A+ for cinematography. It was beautiful. The characters, I cared about every character that was shown on screen. Not only the representation, which was awesome. Thank you for that, Chloe Zhao. I really appreciate that. But the characters are actually well written. They don't have just a gay character just to do stuff and be gay. The character is someone who's really intelligent and really well written, who so happens to be gay. Like anyone would be. Thank you for not making this fucking cheesy or trying to get brownie points in for the sake of having brownie points. Like, this movie did something, and it did it accurately. It did it well. Who would have thought? Which gets into my next point, the writing. Now, yes, again, a lot of like cheesiness, some plot conveniences, the big bad thing that's going to destroy everything. But that's the thing, dude. The high stakes, man. The high stakes that this movie builds from the beginning. I went in thinking that it could be a good but generic Marvel movie. This is dark. This is honestly one of the darkest Marvel movies I've seen since Infinity War, and I keep doing that comparison even though I feel the films are really different. But holy shit, Eternals is kind of like what I wanted the original Justice League to be. I get like, oh my god, how dare you? Justice League is a way higher property than Eternals. Who the fuck are these Eternals? Everyone knows who Wonder Woman is. Everyone knows who Superman is. And I get that. And yes, I like the Snyder Cut. I talked about it in another review. It's just so well done. Again, it's dark as hell. The humor, I can't think of a certain moment in this movie where I cringed. Like, maybe there's the joke of Kamel and him being filmed. Maybe that joke went on a little too long, but it's still funny. Like, it's part of the character writing and the world building of this movie, and just like all these positive feelings that went into watching the movie. Like, I was excited to see what was gonna happen next, and long after I finished the movie, I'm still excited to see, oh my god, my nose is itchy. I'm still excited to see what Marvel's gonna come up with next, because if this is the start of their next phase, Eternals and Shang-Chi, that is a hell of a good start, man. Like, really, I understand the criticisms with this movie. I understand why people think, oh, everything about it is good. The only thing holding it down is that generic Marvel plotline that they use for every movie. But it did more than that for me. I don't know what about it worked so well for me, but I left so satisfied to the point where I almost gave this a 9. I'm going to keep it at an 8 for now because I really don't think it's that good. I'm still like debating on whether or not I like this more than Infinity War. It really was that good in my opinion. And really, it just left me speechless. I can't even talk.
I'm so pale.
I was expecting it to be somewhat good, but I didn't know this movie would affect me this much. Like, I really enjoyed Eternal. Look at that shit. I have that poster. Like, it held some kind of good impression on me. This movie did a lot of what I've been wanting Marvel movies to do for a while. I think as a film itself, it works. And without the fan service, because I really don't know who any of these characters are, I grew to love them. And I grew to care about them. And that's all thanks to the acting and just Chloe Zhao giving her fucking characters good direction. And really, I really had such a blast watching Eternals. Like, there's so much about it that just worked for me again, and I honestly can't wait to rewatch it. I will 100% pick this up when it comes out on physical media, and honestly, I think everyone should go check it out for themselves and see if they like it. If they don't, I don't blame them, but I was really surprised watching this movie, and for that, I'm giving Eternals a pretty high 8 out of 10. Like, there was a lot about it I enjoyed, and look at me, I'm excited to watch this Marvel movie again. That never really happens with Marvel movies, but yeah, that's gonna conclude this video. This was kind of a lengthy one, but I really talked about some of the stuff I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while now. There's still a lot more movies to come out this year. My nose won't stop itching, oh my god. But yeah, that's what I thought about those. If you like this video, give it a like. If not, you don't have to. You could dislike it if you want. But yeah, seriously, go check out these movies for yourself, or don't watch After We Fell. And just try to stay chill, stay safe, and watch a movie. Peace.